I'll say one thing about Lady Gaga and is obvious to me on this album is she is a fan of music.
Yeah.
And I feel like almost every one of these songs, I can hear her fandom.
Can't unhear it.
This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum. This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum. This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum. This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum.
It is a sleepy spring evening in Baltimore, Maryland. Welcome to the Backwards Beats podcast.
How's it going, everybody?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
2-year-olds, bro.
You look a little sleepy.
4 a.m. wake up time will do that to you repeatedly.
Huh.
And, I think I was telling you pre-cast, I had a big weekend of working some wedding stuff and did a lot there and some other gigs outside of it. So I've been in a haze all week, and I'm embracing it.
That's all right. It happens.
It's nice because the anxiety about recording like this evening was non-existent. You were like, hey, I'll be there in 20 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, cool. Very like ambient approach.
Yeah. I'm normally more on time, but had some exciting news and was hanging out with my son a little bit. He's home on spring break, so
That's big, man. Yeah. That's big. He's in radio as well, huh?
He's in radio.
Shout out to Madison, Wisconsin.
That's right. Yeah. It has a radio show on WSUM.
Dope.
Yeah, it's the Haunted Horror Hour every Saturday, or most every Saturday. He's on spring break, so it's not this Saturday.
Got it.
Yeah.
I remember when we were in Miami, you were trying to find a way to stream it down there. Yeah,
the streaming app that they have, it's like a commercial streaming app that is used by radio stations. That's a piece of junk. As far as like on mobile, it has like this like colorblind, like I hate color. I'm not a colorblind person, but like I hate colorblind people and people have any visual because it's like this like drug trip background with like tiny like black font.
It's just there to like ruin your day.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not what happens when you listen to it live. But anyway, they started dumping their old episodes on Spotify as a podcast. And the interesting thing about it is they've had to cut it because since they're on radio, they take a break midway through their show and play a song. So they have to cut the song out because it'll get blocked on Spotify.
Could they re-add it in via Spotify?
Spotify stopped doing that.
Really?
Yeah, that whole thing where you could inject entire songs, which I was considering when we started this, like, let's do that because then for those of you who ask us, how come we don't play songs?
They make it terribly hard for us to, is the short answer. Yeah,
when we deployed, my God, I'm a software engineer. When we released the Harry Styles episode, we pushed it out to all the platforms and it gets pushed to YouTube as well. And YouTube crapped on it for the 10 seconds of Harry Styles that we sampled in that episode.
Wow.
They didn't block it, but it was
they gave you a tough time.
Yeah, I disputed it. I'm like, screw you guys. This is educational. We basically we're glorifying Harry Styles and Kenny Loggins.
I was about to say that was the Kenny Loggins comparison.
Yeah. So that little 20 seconds. So I would love to put more music on this, and we're trying to think of ways to do that without getting ostracized from the podcasting platforms because the laws around fair use, even though fair use is a real thing, no one wants to fight it. And a tiny podcast like us, certainly we don't have the clout to
contest it per se. And when you're talking about, top 500 albums, most of these folks have a heck of a piggy bank they can fight us with.
Right. But speaking of tiny, I want to throw this out there. Looking at our metrics, about half of y'all who are listening don't actually follow us.
Ooh, bad look, y'all.
And if you like this podcast, I'd appreciate, whatever platform you're on. It helps us most on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whichever your favorite platform is to go ahead and actually hit the follow button on there. That helps us. It helps get, build out our audience more, because the algorithm there will treat that better. That's almost more important than how many people are actually listening, I think. So if you guys could do that, we don't ask a lot, but do that. And even better, that whole 5-star rating thing.
Oh man, those really elevate you.
They do. So if you're appreciating this, and it looks like we have some consistent listeners, but I said as half of you, if we could get 90% of you, how about that? 90% of you, those of you who are on the fence, stay on the fence. That's fine. We understand.
Yeah. Click that button. Please, please, please.
Yep.
We won't ask often. Yep. All right. So we have the pleasure today of visiting Lady Gaga's Born This Way.
That's correct.
And this album was recorded in probably before, but released in 2011. Can you believe it's been that long?
It's kind of hard to believe, yeah.
I mean, it really time flew. Pandemic screwed with everybody's time, but I mean, 2011 is when this dropped, and a lot of the listeners hearing this right now at least know the title track to this album, or one of the other absolute smoking songs off of it that was big on the radio. It's just crazy that we're 14 years out.
Yeah, it is. And for a little bit of housekeeping, this is on Rolling Stone's list. This is album 484.
So yeah, this is still pretty high up there. It makes me think that we probably will see one more Gaga album on here.
Yeah, she's done pretty well for herself over the past 14 years.
Yeah, I'd say so. This album punches in at 1 minute over 1 hour on 14 tracks. So there's a lot of content to review. Mm-hmm. And overall, it definitely has an identity. This album should come to surprise anybody. It's heavily based upon, kind of self-image. Mm-hmm. And we're all familiar with Lady Gaga's advocacy with the LGBTQ plus movements, and just equal rights for people. Yeah.
This was a big album, though. Even coming off of her debut album, where she had some pretty massive hits.
Oh yeah, she was pumping out crazy content here, which is, like I said, why I think this might not be the last we see of her on this list. Because, songs like, this does not have Bad Romance or Poker Face or anything on it.
Right.
The stuff that really she cut her teeth with.
Yeah.
We've seen this trend, though, in artists where on our list so far, like, Shakira's album was not the one you thought it would be, right? And so it'll be interesting to see what comes in the future.
Yeah, actually, Shakira, Bonnie Raitt,
Marvin Gaye.
God,
yeah.
I sure hope he's on again.
I'm sure he will be. We're rooting for you, Marvin.
Yeah,
but this album in its own right had some pretty massive listens, and I think for a lot of the generation. What's the generation under millennial? Are they Gen Zers?
Gen Z, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think this was a cusping album for Gen Z and millennials. It kind of was a crossover. And so I think there's a lot of young folks who these tunes resonate with.
Yeah. I'd say you're older Gen Zs, but yeah.
Yep.
I agree. And it did well with traditional sales. 4 million US, 6 million worldwide is nothing to scoff at.
And that's in a time where we were clearly by now streaming music predominantly. So those are some pretty big sale numbers.
Yeah. I'm curious, it's so interesting looking at those metrics now, because the people who are keeping these numbers, they have an algorithm now for what equivalent units are based off of streams. It's kind of weird, the math that they're doing. I'm guessing at this point, it wasn't full on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, you name your place.
No, I don't
It was
think we
more
had
like
that.
iTunes downloads there. So they probably still had some more concrete.
Spotify was a thing in 11, right?
It was, but not like it is now.
I think Pandora had a market share back then. You
Yeah.
remember they were big for a while.
You know that we're on Pandora, by the way?
Are we?
We are.
They're like now playing backwards beats and similar podcasts, and it just rolls us into like Rogan or something.
Yeah, I don't. That would be great, actually, to get listeners. I don't think we've gotten a single listener from Pandora, but
I don't even know. I'm gonna try and find us on Pandora now.
yeah, we're there. We're iHeartRadio. We're all over the place, man.
Did you hear that Napster just sold again?
Who uses Napster?
That's the first thing I said to myself. It's a weird world we live in. There's so much technology and so much availability. So we're very appreciative for every listener that we do have because there's so many other things you can listen to.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the meat and potatoes.
I know. All right. So like I said, 14 songs. And this album, not only has kind of a storyline identity, but it also has a musical theme throughout it. This thing cooks. It's a dance album.
It is
Heavily electronic.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say a couple other overtones. There's a lot of religious overtones in this album.
Yeah, there are a couple. I can't wait to hear your synopsis.
Yeah, there's more than I would have expected as you go through this album. And I was going to wait on this one, but I guess I'll say it now. I had this perception of her early on, and this album actually reinforces that a bit. So Lady Gaga is known for being, out front and center, extravagant.
A lot of showmanship, yeah.
Yep. Edgy.
Indeed.
Right.
Gonna test the norm, gonna wear a meat suit.
Yep. Yeah. And, I can't help but draw comparisons to Madonna.
Yeah, rightfully so.
For which, if Madonna hadn't done what she did over her career, I don't think Lady Gaga would have been as able to do it, as she was. And what's interesting to me is I always felt, and I think it's on this album, is all of Madonna's controversies, they sort of happened one at a time. Like, ooh, Like a Virgin's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Papa Don't Preach is a big deal, but those are separate albums. And I think Lady Gaga, it's all in this album. Like all of there's so many like triggery things I can see that would be upsetting to the same people that would be triggered by Madonna. It's all in this album.
It's a very honest album.
Yeah.
She bites no tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, she probably bites somebody else's, but she doesn't bite hers on this one. She is clear as day. There is not a lot you have to research in order to kind of hear the message of each one of these tunes. Mm-hmm. It's funny because I know she has a lot to say on it, but as I listened to these albums, I didn't find myself listening lyrically. And I think I've spoken about this before. It's not my go-to. Mm-hmm. I assumed I would be really dialed in on her messaging because the advocacy is so strong in her, right?
Right.
But the thing I think I was attracted to the most, or the thing that I really kind of dug into, was the styles of music that were chosen for each tune. Because she's kind of all over the place. And if you really want to take a medium to deep dive in electronic music and electronic styles, they venture out and use a ton of different EDM, as it now is known, but just electronic music styles. Many that were nostalgic for me.
Yeah. They might have all of the subgenres. Yeah.
It really.
Yeah.
I mean, no country, no reggae, but outside of that, I mean, they leaned into a lot here. And
there's country on this album.
There is. You're right. They're sorry. You're absolutely right. There is. Very end. But I guess what I'm saying is coming off of Ronstadt, coming off of
Phil Spector.
Not Spector. I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. Where we had a lot of like country consistent through. Mm-hmm. This is a smorgasbord. There's just little bits of everything.
Little bits of everything, but a very common
4 on the floor EDM tone.
Yeah. You do well to get yourself a pacifier.
Every one. That's good. Every one of these tunes, with the exception of maybe one, was designed to push in a warehouse nightclub.
Yep.
And I like that about this album. I don't feel like a lot of people really embrace it. What was Beyonce's most recent album pre-Cowboy Carter? She had one that was really heavily based upon the Detroit,
the one that she
EDM scene.
Got screwed on the.
Yeah. Yes. No. Cowboy Carter was that one.
No, she got her Grammy for Cowboy Carter.
Oh, that's right. No, the one she got screwed on.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh, this is good pod.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Hey, you can correct us at our email.
backwardsbeatspodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you really want to embarrass us, as soon as you hear this, put it on Instagram.
Yeah, @backwardsbeats.
And we will send you a free piece of merch for the first person who hits us up.
Yeah, you can follow us on Blue Sky too. We're over there.
Oh man, aren't we on Reddit now too?
We are on Reddit. We don't have a subreddit, but
yet. So anyway, I think that there's a lot to look at this album when you look at it as a whole piece. You know, it really does it. This is one of those things you turn it on and you're in a mindset for an hour.
Yeah.
It's not just a collection of pieces.
I agree. This album is interesting for a couple of reasons, though. There are a lot of producers on this album.
Ooh, some notable names.
Well, one to me that was surprising, and I think I had heard this, but it was in the back of my brain. So, RedOne is on here, who's a big dance pop person. Worked with Shakira.
Yep.
So that's why I'm mentioning him. Fernando Garibay, who is known for working with Kylie Minogue and U2. And we have a few other folks in here. I'm going to skip around, but the one that surprised me the most is Mutt Lange.
Mutt Lange.
You don't know who Mutt Lange is?
I don't.
Legendary producer behind AC/DC, Def Leppard, married to Shania Twain, and there's definitely a Mutt Lange song on this album.
Oh, sure. There's a couple of real rockers on here.
Yeah.
Especially towards that kind of like middle to end gap.
Yeah, and I'll say one thing about Lady Gaga and is obvious to me on this album is she is a fan of music.
Yeah.
And I feel like almost every one of these songs, I can hear her fandom in the song.
Well, she herself, when you hear her voice and her interpretation of like singing styles.
Yeah.
She uses 20 different voices minimum, on this album. And I'm definitely undershooting on that, but you don't just come up with those, right?
Yeah.
You heard them, you mimicked them, you developed them. And it's not like she dead ringers someone's voice on any one given song.
No.
It's just she will change her singing style so often throughout these recordings. She'll change her singing song from verse to pre-chorus.
Right.
In songs almost every tune, it feels like.
Yeah. Do you know the origin of her name or the inspiration behind her name?
I do not.
So her name is Stephanie.
I knew that.
Right? She has a bunch of names. She's Italian. And so she's a big fan of Queen. And the Gaga and Lady Gaga is based off of the song Radio Gaga by Queen.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Queen.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Queen later in this episode.
Oh, that I got a little wink during that one, too.
Yeah.
You catch that algorithm?
We did. Wink.
All right. Well, anything else on kind of the 50,000 foot view here?
No, I'm not going to go too much further into her story because I'm pretty positive we'll talk about her again.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out how to reconcile when we have to talk about the same artist like a dozen times. Like when we get to the Beatles, for example.
Yeah.
Do I start off that they were from Liverpool? Oh, crap. I just ruined that episode. Right. So,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So we're trying to figure that out. So want to mosey on to the music?
Let's mosey on. A little quick break here.
Let's do it. In life, they were someone. In death, they can still be something. Ash Kiss Memorial Sculpture Studio, where we don't mourn the dead, we mold them. We don't simply scatter ashes into some windy park and pretend that it is closure. We take that dusty little urn and turn it into a glorious monument to your complex relationship with mortality. A statue of Oz, a twisted, screaming obelisk of emotional confusion. Whatever you need. Your grandmother? Now she's a sleek, modernist coffee table with haunting eyes. Your ex-husband? We turned him to a bird bath that makes the neighbors uncomfortable. Or you could just clone his bone. We sculpt, we sand, we whisper to the void, and the void whispers back. Ash kiss, because even in death, you're still ours to shape.
Golly gee willikers, our ad revenue just keeps getting better.
We will be rich.
I know. It's just fantastic. You can find that side piece later. Hey, Dan, what's 7 plus 7?
7 plus 7 is 14.
14 what?
Songs.
And Grammy nominations. Wait, Grammy victories that Lady Gaga has.
That's correct.
And she banged a guy named Oscar.
She did.
No, she has an Oscar.
Oh, right.
Okay, it's one of the two. You all can fact check.
Both could be true.
Probably.
Right.
I mean, she definitely banged a dude named Alejandro once.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fernando. Ooh, do you think he's the producer? The same Fernando that she sings about in the song Alejandro?
Oh.
Ah.
Someone should Google that and tell us.
There is a subreddit somewhere that has this information.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty good at what she does, and we really wanted to acknowledge that because as much fun as we poke about any of these artists that we talk about, ultimately we respect the heck out of what they are able to pull off.
Yeah. We've struggled. I've struggled. We've both struggled on the ones where we don't like it because we want to actually give people the credit where it's due.
Indeed. Yeah, and I mean, you don't stumble into 14 Grammys.
Right.
So, she kicks off this album with a tune called Marry the Night. It has 133 million listens. Now, you can call some of that good old first song on the album, bonus. Mm-hmm. But it hits pretty hard, and I think it sets the tone for the entire album pretty well.
Yeah, she wrote this song to be a concert opener.
I would say that worked.
That was the intent of when crafting the melody on this, or the whole vibe of this.
Indeed. You know what it brings me back to, which really strikes me? When I was a teenager, we had this radio station, Z104. Do you remember that station?
I wasn't around here then.
That's right. All right. So, and I remember listening to this station. It had all of these like 90s, like LaBouche, the Real McCoy.
Yeah.
And it pulled on all of this really fun early EDM. This is long before I got into like proper EDM, like really, really good, like drum and bass and crazy acid house and acid jazz music. It was just good down the middle pop music, and it sounded amazing. And she really channeled it here quite well. The instrumentation, the tempo, the way she sings it, it all was there. It's a very digestible opening song.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, well, the song actually is semi-autobiographical about, the frustration that she felt. She was dropped from a label and claims like at the time was the worst day of her life. And she went out to burn off steam. And this song feels more like going out to burn off steam.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what the Marrying the Night is. It doesn't feel to me like this real inspiration, like you got to marry the night, even though it kind of gets there.
It does. I mean, it gets there via this bridge where it punches into this major chord work all of a sudden.
This bridge serves, these are my notes, but this bridge serves as the inspiration. She's ready to take on the world. And it is also indicated by the modulation to the relative major.
There we are.
Literally my notes.
Yeah. It won't be the first time we see this happen, by the way.
Yeah.
To foreshadow some stuff. But no, overall, is there anything stunning about this? Maybe not, but I think what it really does is sets your ears up and definitely your heart rate up for what you're about to get into for the rest of this collection.
Yeah, there's nothing particularly interesting in this harmonically, but there is one thing I've always liked about this song is during the Mama Mary part, the chord progression, this is all minor. The whole verse is minor. It's all A minor. And then the very first time she goes through the chorus, I think the chord's like A minor, G, F, and then she hits the C only one time. The other time it goes back to, goes back to the whatever the regular chord progression is. only one time she does that, and it gives you a little lift. So I encourage you, like, listen to that section of the song, and you'll hear all of a sudden, oh, it feels a little bit happy for just a second.
Well, that's like Love Song.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
By The Cure. That's exactly what happens.
Yep.
Same chords too. Mm-hmm. And it's true, because when you have that A minor and that C, the relative, relationship between them, they're the same.
Yeah.
They're the same, but it's this brightening moment. And I agree. It's a little bit of a glimmer.
Yeah.
And she sings so powerfully over this whole song.
Yeah. And to be clear, when it goes in the bridge, not only does it go to C major, it goes to C Lydian.
Ooh.
So Lydian's a major mode. What makes it Lydian, and Lydian, let's see, what would you know Lydian? You know Lydian from the Simpsons theme song.
The Simpsons theme song is what we always use in
Yep.
education for it.
Yep. Or Maria from West Side Story is a Lydian song for those older listeners, and you want to do that. But Lydian, because it's basically just a regular major chord, a major scale, the only thing that makes it a little different is the fourth note of the scale is raised by a half step.
Yep.
And it gives it a more optimistic thing. So because the whole song's minor, most of this album's minor.
Yep. Until you get to the choruses.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a pattern here. Mm-hmm. That Lydian lift, though, it breaks up the monotony of pretty much otherwise passe chord progression.
Yeah. There's a second interlude that comes out of that bridge, which is a really nice piece of songwriting, because the song is in A minor, the bridge is in C or C Lydian, depending on the second you're talking about in the song. And that second interlude dabbles in this ambiguous space because the chords are C, E minor, and A minor.
Ooh.
So it's like, I'm not sure where I am yet, but I'm going to go back to home. And it allows you to float beautifully between both things for just a minute.
E minor being your stepping stone, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really a nice piece of songwriting to give you that transition.
It's clear she has chops, not only as a singer and as a pianist, but as a composer. She has her hands all over this.
Yeah.
This is not a mistake. Any other thoughts on this one?
No.
Cool. Yeah. Enjoyable tune. Moving on to this little ditty here. It's called Born This Way. Mm-hmm. Title track of the album. Has almost 700 million listens. Mm-hmm. And times in it a nice 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Nice.
Yeah.
If you don't know this song, stop this recording and go listen to it real quick. I think most people will have heard this tune at some point in time. It's been used heavily in the commercial space.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was written to be an empowerment song. Definitely it is an anthem in the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. It was actually inspired by another song written by Carl Bean.
Nice name.
Yeah. The song is called I Was Born This Way, released in 1977. It's a cool little disco song. I listened to it, which in and of itself is a gay anthem. It has the lyrics like, we are all the way nature meant us to be. I'm happy. I'm carefree. I'm gay.
Great. So she's doing, this is riding that same exact wave.
It is, except I'm not sure how many copies that single sold. This one sold 6 million copies, just this single alone.
Yeah, it's by far the most popular tune on this album, and for good reasons. It's a powerful tune. It's produced really well. The messaging is super clear.
Yep.
She has a nice little challenge to religion line in there as well.
Yeah, capital H-I-M.
That's the one.
Yep.
And that upsets some communities on the other end too. This is a controversial issue, and so she really uses this tune to throw down an exclamation point on her side.
Yeah, and to be clear, she is of Italian descent, born and raised Catholic.
Yep.
So she has some feelings, and I think the religious overtones on this album, there's a push and pull of celebration and questioning and challenging all together, and just use as storytelling.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things here. I'm sure she's trying to strike a nerve in certain times, and sometimes I think it's just content.
Yeah, I agree. This one is positivity and empowerment is the way I read it.
Yeah.
I don't think she's trying to be offensive, but I think she's unapologetically speaking her mind here. If that makes
Well, I mean, I don't have the line memorized, but it's whether you love him or capital H-I-M.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And she knows she's getting some backlash.
Yep.
But she got a heck of a lot more support and was able to give support, I think, so with it as well. Enough to, name the album Born This Way.
Yeah. The one thing I never noticed about this song, it's got some cowbell in it.
Does it?
It does. It's like almost a little bit of cowbell feature.
Now I want to listen to it again.
Yeah, you got to listen to the cowbell.
So I will be honest with you, when I was, cramming for this album study, I've listened to the tune, in the car or a grocery store, wherever you hear it, a million times, it feels like. And I listened through the album a couple times. When it comes to these last few days, though, I always hotspot it. And so this gets skipped over. You and I get skipped over. The ones that I'm more familiar with.
Yep.
So I can get into the ones that maybe I've never heard before.
Yeah.
And so, no, I did not catch the cowbell, but now
you got to listen for
after this, we will go back and identify it.
Yeah. It's not Don't Fear the Reaper, but it's...
I was going to say, can we meme it at least?
Yeah.
Anything else on this tune?
No, just it needs more cowbell.
No, hey. All right. Off to song number 3 and my favorite title, Government Hooker.
Government Hooker. Another minor banger.
Indeed. Whoa. Just minor chords, guys. Okay. So you have 160 million listens on this. And this is the track that follows up Born This Way. You are not far from your billion listen mark in songs 1, 2, and 3 if you add them all together. So It's a pretty strong start to an album.
Yeah.
I love this tune. Who's it remind you of?
I was hung up on something else. I don't have someone actually.
Ready for this?
Go for it.
9 Inch Nails.
Okay. Yes. There. Actually, now that you say that, I did ask if any of the producers on this worked with 9 Inch Nails. I did actually.
Yeah. Where is
Google
Trent Reznor's thumbprint?
Yeah.
Guys?
Yes. Now that you say that, I did actually. It's
and
Google
it's not the only time on the album that you get a little bit of this flavor. And one of the hallmarks of 9 Inch Nails that you get here is overdriven saw bass and leads in the synthesizers, but then there's it's like they're spamming samples of speech, and and it felt very Reznor-y to me.
I'm guessing that's so DJ White Shadow's one of the producers on here who has a lot of industrial.
There it is. Industrial is the perfect word for it. And it's kind of cool. What I can say about this album too, coming into song number 4, I'm enjoying the placement of where each of these songs is hitting. I mean, we've talked about this in previous episodes where sometimes we don't think that the placement's right on where the songs hit. So far, they're hitting bam. I mean, this is if not planned, the happenstance is fantastic.
Yeah.
But something tells me this is strategic.
I think so.
Because you couldn't punch into song number... You couldn't make this the opening song. It doesn't paint the color of the album. It shows edge. It really tells you what the end of this album is going to look like.
This song would not sell an album as the opener.
No, but a couple songs in, it's there.
Yeah.
Another thing that I can't unhear, because how old was I at 2011? I don't know. I was 15 years younger than now. So I was 30. Math? Anybody? I was 26.
I was going to say.
I was 26. God, I'm old. And when I was 26, I was in the throes of music. I was teaching and running the music schools all the time. I was playing in projects. I just gotten off tour. I was learning new things about music.
You were playing in Fujank.
Indeed. And furthermore, I was starting my big studies into music software, into DAWs, into Pro Tools. And what I ended up hearing is you end up hearing all these production styles. It's when you really open your ears. And the production here is so 2010s. Lots of use of random filters and this verify effect where voices just do this. Yeah. It's like the record pulling back sound. And you hear these and they remind you of all these kind of stamps, these hallmarks from the era. And the one that it sounds the most like to me is the production off of Future Sex.
Okay.
Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
And this album, Lady Gaga's producers or her are borrowing heavily from some of the really cool, crunchy, oddities that came out of what I think is a really slept on Justin Timberlake album.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Some other notes for me, and I dug into this a little bit. First of all, the intro to this song is really cool, fairly operatic. And there's definitely I'll say musical theater element to this entire album. There are these
That's her
intros,
entire catalog, man.
right? There's these elements of like, here's the intro to the song, and for better or for worse, sometimes it's for worse, because sometimes the intro is the best part of the song.
Yep.
Not in this one. I like this song a lot.
Super fun song.
Yep.
For the first half of the album, if I had to suggest to listen to my musical friends who were like, you listen to Gaga? I'd be like, shut up and go listen to Government Hooker. All right, off to the next one. Judas!
There's no religious overtones in this song at all.
Not even a little.
Nope.
Fun fact, and I didn't see this coming, it's by far the most listened to song on this album. I didn't know it was this big, dude. 750 million?
Yeah.
It's bigger than Born This Way.
That does surprise me. I mean, I knew this song coming in.
I didn't catch that when I was scrolling through. I think I saw 79 million, or 74 million in my stupid face. Wow. That's the one. That's the winner.
Yeah. It's the winner. And, really, obviously there is a religious overtone to this. But it's really a song just about identity, rebellion, and betrayal, right? Like it's through here. So I'm not. Judas is the muse of the story, but it's more general purpose about.
He's been used as the artist sign of betrayal for some time now.
Yeah.
I really like though is the way that she stacks that intro with kind of like that synthy vocally Judas.
Yeah.
There's a really neat harmony that goes with a moving line in it. I think that sets the tone for the tune really well.
Yeah, and this is a fairly angular song.
Yeah. Good choice of words.
Yeah. When you get into the Judas, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because once again, you get this 4 on the floor rhythm, this powerhouse of a beat. I mean, if you have the right speakers, this
Minor
thing
key.
pumps. Minor key. And what we are falling guilty of, not we, I speak of Daniel, Stephanie, and I, is she does get a little formulaic, having listened to all 14 of these songs. It gets a little predictable. There's always a cool trick. There was always some fun levels. It's fun to see what inspiration she draws, but the songwriting structure a little predictable.
I'll be honest. The first time listening through this, like I just had my AirPods on. I was out doing yard work, and I'm like, "Oh, the song has changed." That was how.
Because the consistency is there. I mean, at that point in time, you may as well string 8 songs together at the same tempo and just merge them.
Well, that's what you do in clubs.
Yeah, precisely.
Right. They literally manipulate the tempos to make sure that you can keep the beat going. That's what the DJs do.
Indeed.
So this was designed for that.
Yeah. But she could have made a listen through, is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They didn't do it here. They end each song on the proper, and they don't end it like a cool DJ in mind thing where they leave you like 28 bars of drum loop at the end.
Yeah.
No, but there's a lot of different EDM styles here. I taste the Detroit style big time here. There's a little bit of kind of like what was the precursor to trance.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah, which trance for my age group is what dubstep is for Gen Z. It's still an old person's music, but everybody knows what it is.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the other notable thing here is, and I talked about Stephanie's voices earlier. Is it just me, or does she sing this like Rihanna?
Yeah. Yep. I hadn't put my finger on that one, but now that you're saying it,
definitively. And you have to remember, Rihanna at this point in time also popping off.
Yeah.
And so, not afraid to borrow style is definitely an overlapping theme here.
I think chameleon's a good word for her.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant what she can pull off. There's no question about it.
Now, my stating what I said about I couldn't tell the difference. There is a difference between these songs. For me, as someone who doesn't listen to this style of music that often, I found more enjoyment stopping and coming back than I did straight through. but I think that's more indicative of me as the listener.
Sure. And by the way, you as a drummer.
Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't bother me. I don't mind electronic drums. That doesn't.
No, it's not electronic, but you know, when there's a 4 on the floor kick mixed so hot in the mix on almost every song, you do lose interest. I do. I become desensitized. I'll own that. Yeah. And maybe I'm just projecting it on you.
No, you're not wrong. When I was in college, there was this. Well, actually, I think the bar is still there. This is a bar we used to go to. It's right by Fenway Park. Yeah, it's right by Fenway Park. It's called the Cask and Flagon. I think it's still there. We used to go there all the time, and it's more of a sports bar kind of place. And they would play "Oh What a Night" and "Summer Lovin'," and we were kind of dancing more to that stuff. That's kind of what the vibe was there.
Sure,
it was great. Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Should I just keep name dropping songs to the AI?
It'll be fun to see what it pulls up. Yeah.
And so we would go there and we'd have a blast. And I had a roommate. So that's right on Lansdowne Street in Boston. And so, which is a whole club alley. It's right by Fenway Park. And down at the ends, there was a Jillian's. I think it's Dave & Buster's now, but I haven't been there in a bunch of years. Could be nothing. But the whole street is full of clubs. And down the street, there was a club. I have another club story that I'll talk about later. There was a club there. I cannot remember. I don't think it's there anymore. And I had a roommate who was a bouncer there, so I could bypass the line and get in.
Mm-hmm.
I never went because it was one of those nightclubs which is this sort of style of music, but 1990 whatever. And we'd walk in, and it was just packed full, butts to nuts. Like everyone's sweating. Music's so loud that the person's 6 inches away from you have to scream in their ear.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't enjoy that. So I never really got into the music because that's really the place for that. But I never got into like that scene.
Yeah.
And there was a great scene in the show. I think it was How I Met Your Mother or something like that, where they end up at a club like this and whoever wrote the episode have been to those clubs because they're like screaming at the top of their lungs, like 3 inches from each other. And so it brings me to that place. And I'm like, can we just go back to, late December 1963 in Sweet Caroline?
See, man, I remember finding ways to get to these warehouse bars in Washington, D.C. As an adolescent / teen. And I just wanted to go to these clubs and dance and be involved. And just, there's something about the tactile, like just people on people.
It's a lot of people on people.
This is where you and I are totally different.
Yeah.
I loved that. I mean, now I think the claustrophobia alone would, cause me to start a fight. But there was a moment. I appreciate that time and that scene and the inclusiveness of it all. It felt very real and raw. And this was a world, pre-smartphone.
Yeah.
So people were very in the moment. No one was buried in their device. If you were there, you really had to engage, or else you looked weird.
Yeah. What's funny about me not liking that, though, is I've been to like Fugazi concerts where you're definitely in a pit and you're definitely touching each other.
Oh yeah,
you're touching strangers, right? And not necessarily
kindly.
Yeah. So it's weird that bothered me, but it definitely, I remember being like, oh, it was just so much better when we had some room to move.
If you like the music, I believe you're willing to tolerate a lot more, right?
Yeah.
And it just depended on what the music was, I think.
Yeah.
One more thing about this one, there's a bridge in this song.
There is a bridge.
That's something else, man.
Yeah.
I have, my note says, bridge sounds like a D&D script. And now that I'm reading it back, I'm going to myself, God, I want to listen to that bridge during our break here. Remember what the words were. But
yeah, no, that's a perfect.
This is her musical theater thing popping out again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she went to school for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she went to art school, and decided to drop out to become famous.
I would say it worked.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else here?
No.
So we're already in this like funky web of tunes right here, right? Government hooker into Judas, and then we drop right into Americano.
Yeah, a beautiful F harmonic minor.
Everybody loves an F harmonic minor.
Yeah.
Because the harmonic minor scale is something you have to teach everybody before they can get... I'm just kidding. But this is, what it is though, is it makes it quite obvious her classical training.
Yeah, and actually, we start at the beginning because the intro to this, I really like the intro to this song. It's actually, I don't know if you like felt through it because she sings it somewhat rubato is the technical term. It's not completely in tempo.
No, and it's pulling from a couple different styles, even like locationally speaking. I can't put my finger on it, right? Because we mentioned she's Italian. And it pulls from kind of that a little.
Yeah.
Pulls heavily from this like Spanish influence. So my thought is I more than looking at Mexican influence, though the instrumentation supports a lot of Mexican music you've heard.
Right.
I'm almost going to like Italy, Spain, Eastern Europe.
Right.
Is where I'm really hearing this.
And I think that's the harmonic minor piece.
I think that's why I brought it up. I think that solidifies it for me.
Yeah. So the harmonic minor for humans, it is common in flamenco music.
Yep.
But it's also more pronounced in Middle Eastern music.
Sure.
So that's where you're getting that. But this intro, this speaks to like her classical training. It's very a musical theater feel. It's in 3/4.
Yep.
And we've talked about mixed meter in other episodes. It eventually extends. It goes to 2/4 and then to 4/4, but that's only to make the words fit into the space.
Precisely, which shows this kind of like, I'm going to give this singer latitude. I think James Taylor is one of the folks we talked about. He gets a totally different genre.
Yeah.
But very prominent in musical theater.
Yeah, and what that speaks to is even back into operatic time, right? You would have your aria is the beautiful music in opera, and the recitative, right? The recital part. It's the part of musical theater where they're basically just getting the dialogue out to a song.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that music, if you've ever played in a pit orchestra, that music is bonkers because we don't speak in meter, we speak insane. And so if you're trying to get dialogue out, that music becomes very complicated to write. It's not usually the most pretty music. This is a nice intro, but that whole like getting the words out and how do I get it out and make it work? Film scores are notoriously complicated because I need to hit this thing when the anvil lands on the Wile E. Coyote's head, right? So it becomes complicated, but it's mostly to serve that purpose. This isn't complicated to be like prog rock or anything like that.
No, it still sounds fluid.
Yeah.
If you're not counting, you don't hear it. And that's the telltale sign of artists.
Well, I heard it. That's why I counted it. But yes.
Well, you're different. Your ears are like constantly horny for that.
What's this?
I will say it I can't decide if this song is brilliant or cheesy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because it's so overdone and layered, and the voicing that she's using as a singer, the timbre and the accent she puts on, it's laying into it so thick.
Yeah.
That I was like, is this respectful or is this
she's rolling her R's?
Oh, and she's like going like intentionally flat and bending notes, which shows breadth and skill and mastery.
Yeah.
Also doesn't feel terribly authentic over the backdrop.
Yeah.
Because it's still a dance song, and you can roll as many mandolins and trumpet sections into it as you want.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
This chorus is awesome to me.
The chorus is very good. The chorus, I said, sounds like the Decemberists covering Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh, that is awesome.
Oh my God.
Hey, there's also cool, if I remember, I'll put it in the show notes. There's a cool live version of this from the Born This Way ball, where she has a flamenco guitar player doing the whole intro.
That's sick.
Yeah.
See, like, to realize this live, I bet I'd be blown away.
Yeah.
If I just saw that, I'd be like, I would totally fall on the one side of the fence, right?
Yeah, so the flamenco player's playing. There's a whole scene going on, like a wedding that's happening. Lady Gaga's not visually on the scene. The song starts the way this song starts. I'm guessing it's a tape, because normally if you're because there's like orchestral music happening,
Yeah,
and it is rubato, meaning not in time. So normally the way that works, if you're doing a pit orchestra in musical theater, the conductor is watching that singer and the singer is watching the conductor's hand to know, like, all right, she took the breath, so the band knows when to hit the note.
Yeah, there's a ton of nonverbal communication that goes into this.
Yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes that goes on there. And I'm not seeing that, so I'm guessing that part is probably taped. But then when she gets into the song, it slaps and she's doing great.
All right, good. I'm glad to know. I'd like to watch that.
Yeah.
We have some homework to do after this. And by the we, I mean, you're going to show me this.
Yeah.
Other notes on this song for you?
No.
One other I had, my favorite part of the song.
Oh, I do actually, but go ahead. Sorry.
Is the she does this end vocal thing. The whole you don't try to catch me.
Yeah.
It the timbre of her voice that she chose cracked me up. I had to re-listen to it, and I stand by my words here when I say it sounds like she's in the Love Shack Singers group.
Yes.
The B-52s. Did you get that?
Yes.
I don't know what that timbre is, but it dead ass.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me.
You're right. I have a little thing about the outro harmony part. Yeah.
It's cool. I like the part quite a bit. Really entertaining song. It's kind of like untangling a knot. If you're a musician, because there's so much to unpack. You could argue it's all done very well. I still think it's a little chewy for me.
And here's my thought on why I think you think that, because I actually get Moulin Rouge vibes with this song.
Okay, yeah, I'd buy that.
And you not being a musical theater fan,
no, I am not.
even though. I think Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor did a pretty good job, given the fact that they're not singers.
I'm impressed every time someone does a thing and they are decent singers.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, oh, Scarlett Johansson has a voice on her. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I think more people than not have some set of pipes that are better than mine.
Yeah.
And so this is where the album, in my opinion, takes another turn, right? We're going into song number 6 here, which is Hair.
Mm-hmm.
Not heavily listened to at a mere 50 million listens.
Featuring the late Clarence Clemons.
Clarence Clemons?
No Clarence Clemons?
No, who dat?
Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band. Hey, Clarence, you've been practicing real hard, so Santa get you a new saxophone.
Oh, that's Clarence?
That's Clarence.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, Clarence.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Is it true that one of the dudes from The Sopranos is also in that band?
Yeah.
He's
Van Zandt.
the guitar player, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm sad for Clarence now.
Yeah.
Thoughts,
yeah, there's sax on this. Yeah.
Thoughts on Hair?
Okay. So, I went to a lot of places here. I hear this song and I hear mid-80s Kiss.
Okay. You will do anything to tie Kiss into every single episode.
And I couldn't figure it out. So the two songs that came to my mind, and I'll tell you how I got here, and here's what's funny, is there's a song called Turn on the Night and another song called My Way. Both of them are on the album Crazy Nights. So, like I said, 80s Kiss, not even stuff you've heard of, except for people do know the song Crazy Nights. Oddly, one of the highest streamed songs by them.
Okay.
Yeah, shocking to me. And so then I happened to go look, because almost every song on this album on Wikipedia has its own page. So I took a quote from Wikipedia. According to Lady Gaga, the melody of the song Hair resembles the work of metal bands Kiss and Iron Maiden. So I'm not the only one who heard that. I don't get Iron Maiden in this at all.
Neither do I.
And she is also influenced by Bruce Springsteen. I think that's because of Clarence Clemons, because there's no Bruce Springsteen in this song at all.
Not at all.
Thematically, the song is closer to Kiss's song Shout It Out Loud, because she has the lyrics, I just want to be myself, I want you to love me for who I am. And Shout It Out Loud is, it doesn't matter what you say or do, forget the things you've been told, you can't do it any way. You can't do it any other way. Everybody's got to rock and roll. So it's thematically, it's the same. So
to me, it's a post-cursor to like Born This Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my first note on this song.
That was with 3 finger shakes at my face, everybody.
Yes. Not Born This Way. I said, this is Discount Edge of Glory.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Well, that would be the trifecta, right?
Yeah. And then when I heard that, because this is back doing yard work, Discount Edge of Glory. I'm like, when I first put the album on, I wasn't looking at the track list. I just put it on and said, go.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew Born This Way was going to be on here, but I knew everything was a surprise. And then for a minute, I'm like, that's a Lady Gaga song, right? That's not Kelly Clarkson or something like that. That's Lady Gaga. And then, of course, it's on this album. And so at first, I'm like, why would you put this on there? Because Edge of Glory is probably a better song. But now I think my tune's changed. I think I like Hair better than Edge of Glory.
You know what? This one stands out. I keep going back to the year and the predominant artists when it was released. This sounds like it was inspired or fits in the same playlist as a Pink song.
Yeah.
Because Pink was never afraid to embrace a lot of rock and roll roots. And this is the first time on the album you're really getting into some like chunky guitars that like are meaningful and like a rock stance.
Yeah. Oh, she's definitely a hard rock fan.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And this one, but it's not without all of the trappings of kind of what's become her signature sound. A lot of synth.
Yep.
Ton of those kind of production tricks, as I had stated earlier.
Yeah.
With filters and cool like word cut samples and the verify effects.
Yep.
It's the first kind of nod that we get in this album where it's like, okay, this is way more off the rails than Born This Way.
Yeah.
And it is a precursor for some songs to come.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a dance break in here where it's like, I got to bring it back to where we've been for the beginning of this album. But the outro, I'm getting a combination of It's My Life by Bon Jovi.
Dude, I had the same note.
And actually, another Kiss reference, not really their song, but they did a version of God Gave Rock and Roll to You, 2.
Two.
TOO, because there's an original by the band Ardent, I think it was. And that song was featured on Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Excellent.
That's
really cool. Yeah, this is I don't love this song, but I respect this song.
It grew on me. Like I said, at first I'm like, why is this even on this album? We already have a better version.
Yeah, no, but it kind of pumps and it does it at the right time in the album. Kind of sitting at position 6.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's Lady Gaga once again strong with her message, get out of my way. And it's neat to hear it over new instrumentation, right?
Yeah. If I was a young girl whose mom was not letting me do what I want to do,
there it is.
this is my song.
Here's your anthem.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
And that brings us to song number 7, sitting at 69 million listens. Do you want to say the name of this one?
Shy Bay.
This song is...
Which is German for Scheiße.
Which is...
you know what that means.
Yeah.
Shit. Poop. My mom told me not to swear anymore.
Yeah. Well, mine doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
She's
not wrong.
The house music influence that hits here, like the Euro house, it checked such a box for me. I love this stuff, dude. I love like this really wild ecstasy nightclub music. Like so much.
My first note. MDMA.
Like the timbre was dead on. Whoever produced this one gets so much credit from me immediately.
Yeah.
And then she just turns into yet again a whole nother character saying some wild Scheiße.
Well, she says she can't speak German, but
I can if you like.
if you can. So you have a German last name.
Yeah.
So why don't you pull up Spotify, the karaoke track on this?
Okay.
You're gonna have to.
I have to click this button.
You have to
There
play
you go.
it. Yeah.
This I got it.
No, that's not. You actually have to hit play.
Got it.
This is
All
good
right.
pod.
All right, we're good. I will be in a second of this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit the button here. Bam. All right, cool.
All right. So, all right, there we go. So there's a repeated line in German. Since you have a German last name, I'm going to expect you to be able to translate this. Go ahead and tell me.
Of course.
Yep.
Ich schilje Banas to be clear, es kommst mit dem Monster, obviously. No, I'm, by the way, 23andMe told me that I am not German at all.
But your last name. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
I don't believe you.
If I'm not mistaken, this means, Billy, don't leave the popsicles in the car too long. They'll melt and I'll beat you upside your head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nailed it, right?
Yep. Nailed it.
What's it actually mean?
It means, I'll be clear, my friend, the Madre Monster from... yeah, basically, my mother's a monster. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, wow, I was not that far off.
Right. And so I hear this and it reminds me of the song, I think it's Eier von Satan.
Which is...
It's a song by the band Tool.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this one before.
Yeah.
What's the recipe that he screams in German?
So it's this, if you haven't heard it, it's on the album Anima. And it's like this sort of intermittent track. That album is interesting because there's a lot of like skits on the album in the middle of their songs. And it's basically the eggs of Satan. It's the recipe for an omelet, but it sounds like Hitler, like giving off this whole
incredibly mind comfy.
Yeah, it's this crazy thing, but it's just a recipe for an omelet.
It's funny how little I know about German music. I mean, I always default to the Du hast, you know.
Yeah,
that's about all I can do. It's about all I can do. Hast.
All right. Well, that was German Corner.
There's a couple of musical elements real quick I want to mention before we jump into our break here. One of my notes was it has a typical Gaga chorus. And I want to highlight that because I haven't said it yet, but it becomes a theme in the second half of my notes where there is this thing where she sings her choruses and they all feel almost interchangeable. And I sat down and I was like, it's not the phrasing, it's not the chord progression, though none of them are stunning per se. There is one or two choruses that are cool, but like, you know, it just feels like these choruses kind of, they're where I lose a little bit of interest. The interludes, the intros, the outros, the bridges, the verses always seem to grip me inside of this album. The choruses all just feel not phoned in, like they're well done, but just compared to the other risks taken, they feel very bland, very vanilla. I
would agree, especially given, I'd say, how edgy and risky this song starts.
You end up with this very like radio chorus.
Yeah.
That now is out of place in my mind.
Yeah.
Now I'm not crapping on it, but because I do like this tune, I will say, once again though, there's a pre-chorus that has these uh-huhs that once again are dead ass from the Future Sex.
Yep.
Like they sound just like them, or like the ones that you heard in Blurred Lines, or if you want a real throwback, almost the way that you'd heard the group En Vogue do in Never Gonna Get It.
Love that song.
God, I just love En Vogue. Don't Let Go. Oh my God, what a song. I needed to make sure that got onto the AI poll. Overall though, this is a crazy ass song. I really enjoy it.
I agree. You know what I have to say? Now it's time for a breakdown.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Okay. Do you think your child has what it takes to be a star? It doesn't matter. Because the Teen Idol Talent Agency, we don't need talent. We build it from the ground up. With the right look, the right smile, and a steady dose of public pressure will make sure they hit the top of the charts. Can't sing? Doesn't matter. We have technology for that. Can't dance? We'll drown it out with screams from the crowd who can't tell the difference anyway. If they melt down along the way, we'll push with our to-the-edge and back system until they find the strength to come back. After all, 90% of teen idols make a 50% recovery, and the ones who don't? Our Hit Factory package guarantees at least one smash no matter the cost. But be warned, all contracts are ironclad and filled with enough loopholes to ensure that you get your royalty payments posthumously. Your child's success is our business, and business is booming. Sign today and we'll throw in a manager who speaks only through dark sunglasses. He won't ask questions, and neither should you. The Teen Idol Talent Agency. We create the stars, and we're happy to watch them go supernova.
And that's why they say 2 in the hand is worth 1 in the fist.
That is exactly why they say that. That's the origin story.
Literally.
Yep.
All right, moving on. We're at the second half of this album. Song number 8, Bloody Mary. Not only a delicious cocktail, but 638 million would agree. This, I think, was, if you look at what do they call that thing on Spotify when you're looking at your phone? They have like a 10-second video that just loops eternally when you're on Spotify.
Yeah, I think they're just clips.
Yeah. This one has Wednesday Addams in it dancing. Mm-hmm. I think that this was tied to Addams Family somehow.
Yeah, it made its way back.
Wonderful. Yep. That would make sense then, why that clip was rolling. And, just based upon the song title alone, not surprised.
Yeah. I have yet to see Wednesday. I hear it's pretty good.
Oh, is it called Wednesday?
I think that's what it is.
I trust you.
I think that's what
You're
it is.
the film guy.
That's Jenna Ortega, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I agree, and I get it, but this is a song. I mean, the song's about Mary Magdalene.
Yes, indeed.
That's the Bloody Mary in this thing. But I think she's, again, used as a muse for the story. It's not directly, but raise your hands like Jesus did.
Yeah,
that's
a blatant line.
That's a blatant line, yeah. But I think it's like, it's definitely that she's using creative liberties, but I think there's overtones of actually her religion and her beliefs, and maybe her struggles potentially with them.
Sure, or at least, I mean,
yeah.
You mentioned her background with her family, Italian Catholic, right? Yeah. And so there's inevitably going to be struggles there.
Yeah. I also think this song got brought back through some TikTok memes too, right? The dance with your hands part. That was a thing? I don't do TikTok, but
yeah, but I would totally believe if it was.
Yeah.
The fact that, dreams could be brought back by a fucking guy on a skateboard drinking cranberry juice.
Yeah.
You could bring a meme with anything.
Yep.
Overall, this tune, it's one of the more down-tempo tunes on the album. Still not slow, but it's totally the first of its kind so far.
Yeah, this wouldn't play in a club, right?
I don't think it would play in the kind of club we've been talking about all night. That's just like Sweat Factory dance-centric. Yeah. I think you could absolutely hear this song at college bar all the way up to packed DJ Saturday night thing.
Yeah.
But not like club.
Yeah. It could maybe play down in the dungeon.
Maybe at Hell Night.
Yeah.
Maybe. I like this song. It's actually one of my favorites on the album because I think the production is really, really tight. Mm-hmm. I love the kind of little bits of texture that are sewn throughout it.
Yeah. It has some almost industrial kind of feel to it.
It's closer to Government Hooker in that sense, which was another top enjoyer for me. There is one element I very much do not like about this song.
What's that?
That stupid bridge.
Yeah.
Dum dum da dee da. like you didn't have words. She sings it so like confidently.
She's Lady Gaga, who got her name from Radio Gaga, which was a song by Queen that I didn't like till I saw it at Live Aid, and then it changed my mind. So she's just playing with that. It's all right. No, I agree with you. It's stupid.
Thank you. I was like, come on, man. Like, I appreciate the devil's advocate thing, but you can leave that at Hell Night. It's like you had this really great thing going.
I left my innocence at Hell Night.
That's right. And Anna, unfortunately. Anna. But then it feels like a cop-out. And, like, you can't sell me, like, that whole, like, September Badia story here. These are different. These are very different.
It's not Badia.
No. And you're not Maurice White. Like, it's like, there is just... It's distracting how weird it is for me to listen to that part.
It doesn't fit the intensity and the mood of the song.
Not even a little.
Yeah.
It's like they're like, yeah, well, we'll just write something in there at post. Like, they just never got around to it.
Yeah.
It's my only gripe, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, it's good. And, I think I've probably seen you dance with your hands. So then I get why you like it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right, moving on. The song Bad Kids. Song number 9. Definitely a low light when it comes to listeners. Only 20 million listens on this one.
It's a low light for this listener.
It's a low light for this one as well. I really didn't love this tune. My notes read, pre-chorus feels like Gaga chorus, but chorus is kind of all over the place. Goes from minor feeling, and then finally, it essentially goes from this minor chord up to the Ionian, and then you ended up with this really weird major 1, 2, 4, 5 thing.
Look at you using the Greek.
I got when in Rome. I think in terms of Nashville charts, right?
Yeah.
And so it's and when we get into this distractingly out of place chorus on already a song that's a little try-hardy for me,
Yeah.
this is not the tune I would recommend on this album.
To me, this song sounds like someone trying to do a Lady Gaga song.
Okay. That's a very good take here. This to me sounds like AI written lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, with the intro, it's, yeah. No
Yeah.
thanks. This one's no good for me.
Crack a beer and move on, right?
Yeah. So nice.
Yeah, I'll leave that one behind. Then we move over to Highway Unicorn at song number 10.
I had no idea that was the name of this song. I've heard the song a million times. I had no idea that was the name of the song.
There's a subtitle, so it's
Road to Love.
Road to Love, yeah. Highway Unicorn, parentheses, Road to Love.
Yes.
This sounds more like it's off one of your Kiss albums. We'll say you end up getting some kind of crazy 80s drummy machine. I want to go for.
Yep.
Really hit me in the tainted love sector.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you that. For me, this song is about the hook only. Mm-hmm. I think the rest makes me kind of doze off a little bit. It doesn't do a lot for me. This section of the album to me is the low point of the album. I've enjoyed the beginning of this album quite a bit. I'm in this spot where, I mean, the hook for this is anthemic and
this is
iconic.
This fits into the same exact mold in my mind as Hair, Born This Way, and what will be Edge of Glory at the end. It's female empowerment, it affirming yourself vibe yet again. But the soundscape they chose for this one, isn't great.
Yeah, again, other than the hook, I understand why people like it.
There's a cool cut time part. I like that.
Yeah.
But outside of it, it just doesn't really scratch the itch. There's kind of a slump in the album here, if you all are sensing it.
Yeah.
Bad Kids, Highway, it dips for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if I had 14 songs and they were non-negotiable, they had to be on the album, and I was a producer and I knew a few were weaker, I'd put them here too. Pack them at 10 and 11. No problem.
Yep. Yeah. I don't have much more to say on this one.
Nah, me either. Electric Chapel, pretty cool name. Song number 12.
Yeah.
No, my bad. Super my bad. Song number 11. Heavy Metal Lover. Really great song name.
I was looking forward to listening to this song because I know she's a heavy metal lover.
She has to be.
Yeah.
The way she sings, man. I mean, she really picks up some fun stuff.
I mean, did you see her on the Grammys with Metallica?
I did.
Yeah. So she.
Well, I didn't not live, but I watched the video.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the live performance got ruined because James Hetfield's mic died.
Yeah.
But there's a version of the rehearsal where the whole thing works.
I ain't seen that.
Yeah.
No.
So, I mean, but she put her whole heart and soul into that performance because she's a fan.
Yeah. And she strikes me as an artist that will just, if she's going to do it, she's going to full ass do it.
Yeah.
Wasn't it her who, she almost went broke on tour because the production costs
I think
were
you're right.
so high. It was literally she spent $120 million.
Yeah.
And that because she wanted it so perfect, and the sets and the dancers and every piece of gear, spare no expense. My fans will see the best show.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta love that.
Yeah,
as a musician and a producer, you go, cheers, like good for you.
Yeah, she's in it to win it.
I probably wouldn't have done that with my money, but like good for you, man.
Yeah.
She was making these massive waves on her tour long before the Taylor Swift, $1 billion tour ever happened.
Right.
She effectively set the stage, and I'm not going to change that opinion.
Yeah. One of the things that sticks out to me on this song is the choice of sounds used. I feel like I'm listening to the Matrix. There's like some of those synth sounds on there.
Yeah.
Like it's somewhat somewhere in between, like, I think it's on the second Matrix movie. Rob Zombie does a song called Reload.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it called Matrix Reloaded?
Yeah, that's the name of the album. That's the name of the movie. And his song is Reload. I actually really like that song. And there's some sounds chosen in here that make me think of that song a little bit.
It would be absolutely on par with what we've been talking about the whole time and popular production techniques and sounds to use at the time. I mean, she's really reaching out and saying, you can tell she's looking at producers going, what's the craziest thing you got right now? What's the coolest thing you got right now?
Yeah.
And given a lot of permission to kind of paint her music with it. Yeah.
I believe this has your favorite lyric.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do believe this is the best lyric. Best line on the album, Carl's opinion. I want your whiskey mouth all over my blonde south. So wholesome.
Dirty.
That's just such a ridiculously good line. And by the way, that line is not buried in the middle of a phrase.
No.
It is the opening line, clear as day. And it is descriptive, and it is awesome.
That's where my earlier comment on the groundwork that Madonna laid.
There it is.
She just took it to 11.
It's precisely.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you for that one, Stephanie. Keep it up. It's good writing. It's also, take the content away. The rhyme scheme there is so good. It's like really good. So I love that. I like this song. I think it's a really dope dance track. You still have the others with the kind of 4-on-the-4 thing, but what I really like in it is there's a lot of vocal effects going on, including a vocoder.
Yeah.
I kind of wish Daft Punk produced this one. That would have been sick.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows they were still kicking back then. And the bridge is also kind of cool. It just cusps, flirts. One might say edges. On like this, like kind of like Dilla inspired hip hoppy swung outy thing for a second.
Almost.
It just kisses it and it gets right back out of it.
Yeah.
But it shows that someone was hip to it. Like some producer had to fight for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was hoping this song makes sense as to why it is the way it is. I was hoping she would lean a little more into it. Like, just own it more.
I'll just be honest. You just wanted it to sound more like heavy metal.
I want to hear her take on it. Yeah. I mean, I get it's got to still sound like a dance song. And there's...
It's one of the better dance songs on this album, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And it's heavy in that sense.
Right.
But no, is it like Shreddy Krueger? Not
I was
really.
looking for that. Just a little, maybe a few more power chords. Like
I expected it too.
Yeah,
I expected it too. I'm not mad at what I got with it.
Yeah.
But no, does the curtain doesn't match the drapes when it comes to title and content.
But maybe according to the lyrics.
Did you like that? Yeah. See what I did there? Okay, finally, Electric Chapel, song 12. Another kind of slumper in the listenership. Only 21 million listens on this one.
Yep. Another God song.
Yeah. It fits into so this is so funny because we've talked about this over multiple albums and it's always kind of in its own little pocket, but there's kind of 3 EPs inside of this album, right? You could pile the songs into 3 categories. And this is one of the more edgy, gonna say a thing, definitely is fueled by a little bit of a religious play.
Yeah. But I think it's the combination of like faith and salvation, that aspect I think it's making that transition of that to like love and relationships. I don't think it's an indictment on anything.
No, I
think it's just
there's not a
metaphorical.
single moment on the album where she's actually blatant about anything religious.
Right.
With that said, I will say it's colored by it often.
Yeah, it was probably inappropriate for me to say it's a God song, but it's another religiously seasoned.
Yeah, you can see where she pulls from.
Yeah.
Musically, not my favorite work.
No, I keep forgetting about this one.
Well, that's the problem here. Did you do anything wrong? No, but you didn't stand out. And unfortunately, when Gaga goes as hard as she does on some of her tunes,
Right.
you kind of set your own bar.
Yep.
And so to just have something like this that kind of falls in the background EDM, it doesn't do it for me.
I think most people would love to have this on their album, but
In a
compared to
collection of songs that we currently have,
yeah.
you're dwarfing yourself.
Yeah.
It's like bidding against yourself, right?
Say dwarf.
Dwarf.
I mean, as like dwarf on golf.
Well, no.
Oh, okay. You don't know that reference?
No.
All right. Well, that's an old person reference.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Tim Conway.
No.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Dan's old, guys. I'm young.
You know what's funny about that is, yes, I am 12 years older than you, but my wife gives me a hard time because I was exposed to some content. Like I can talk to her parents about pop culture stuff, and she's like, "When were you raised?" I'm like, "I don't know why I know this stuff."
You do have a, you just have this this incredible wealth of information. A lot of it useful. Some totally falls upon just me smiling and nodding, though. That's one of those.
Yeah, Dwarf on Golf is from the Carol Burnett Show.
All right.
All right, there we go.
Don't sue us, Carol. Finally, moving on to the last two tunes here, and this is where the album actually picks back up, I think.
I agree.
You and I. Okay. If you ain't heard it, you've been under a rock. Though I will say I was expecting a slightly higher listenership on this. This is just south of 200 million.
So I was on the struggle bus on You and I. This is right. This is the country song. This is a country rock.
This is the one,
right? It's a country rock anthem, right? It is right there.
Karaoke favorite.
Yep. It's sampled "We Will Rock You."
Yep.
Brian May plays on it.
Yep.
Right. And I was sitting here. I'm like, this song is like 1,000 other songs, and I could not nail any of the songs. And I was looking online, like, what have other people said? Because I couldn't quite place it. And because especially towards the outro, it's like a 1-flat-7, 5 over the third, right?
Yep.
Right.
And the one holds. It's just a walking. Yeah.
Yep. So it's a descending chord progression. And so I'm like, God, it could be this. It could be this. It could be this. And I found this this review about the song who called it a soulful piano ballad. This is a published writer writing. I can't remember the magazine. I'm gonna but this is not a soulful piano ballad.
This is country, bro.
Right. There's piano
New
in
country.
This.
Yeah.
There certainly is piano in this, and it's closer to scenes from an Italian restaurant than it is a soulful, the piano part. But it.
I cover this one with a friend.
Yeah.
We do it at a jazz bar, and we throw our own little flair onto it, where it's not so country.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what other 1,000 songs am I thinking of?
da, 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 da. Okay, so here's why they said soulful. It has a lot of the same chord progressions that were common in Motown music. Without it
This
having
is not a Motown song.
No, not remotely. And I think but I think that's your crossover here.
I think the person was an idiot, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to defend them. It's 1 minor 2 4 1, right? Like isn't that the progression, generally speaking?
Mostly, but then it goes into the that sort of the outro is that descending.
Yeah. Well, that would be Leon Bridges just used it. Oh me, oh my, I can't explain, 'cause she might just be my everything.
Right.
Also soulful and Motown inspired.
Yep.
Because that's Leon for you.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I kind of came up with.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people have said this sounds like "What's Up" by Four Non Blondes.
Yeah, it definitely has that.
For like a millisecond.
It's the verse.
but the chord progression isn't right. And Four Non Blondes, What's Up is obviously Don't Worry Be Happy, just rewritten.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there you go. You should also Don't Worry Be Happy. Yeah.
There's that. I feel like if I think of some anthems, I actually asked my son, like, what do you got? And he's like, Before You Cheats by Carrie Underwood. And I can see that a little bit if you don't know the song. I also get a little bit of Something to Believe in by Poison.
I'd put it more there than the Carrie. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's somebody else. I feel Bon Jovi in this. I feel Garth Brooks. I feel Kid Rock. I feel like there's a bunch of other things that are in this space. As far as like the halftime feel.
Yeah.
And this is the song that's
you know what I would put it with?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who would do a great cover of it. Black Crowes.
Yeah. They could do that.
Like that's where I want it. I want it. It swings.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's soulful vocals.
Yep.
See, the more we say it, the more I actually almost agree with the person like. But it's not soul music.
This is not a soulful piano ballad.
Music.
It's not a piano ballad.
I could teach this to the newest student, right?
Right.
It's triads. But with that said, it's a simple progression.
Yep.
It's a belter. Mm-hmm. It's very accessible. Mm-hmm. Anybody can sing along with it. Sounds a little bit like a drinking song to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Garth Brooks.
I think the Friends in Low Places type of feel.
Yeah. It's not the same vibe. But anyway, I actually like it.
Well, if you think about the Garth Brooks, it is one to the flat and then but the verses and then up to the minor too.
Yeah.
That might work.
Yep.
That's a good call.
Yeah, there are a few other things. It's driving me crazy. I couldn't get there, and I know. I mean, actually, with that descending progression, it's almost Hey Jude. Like there's a bunch of other things,
sure.
anthemic things in here.
It's a good tune.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's easily it's the black sheep on the album. It's like nothing else here.
Yeah.
But it also I think is a grounding moment for the album.
Yeah.
Where she goes, all right, in all seriousness, here's another tune.
Yeah, and this is the Mutt Lange produced song.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah, I mean, he is married to Shania Twain, and people said, "Oh, it sounds like Shania Twain." This does not sound like. Like I started listening, I'm like, maybe I'm missing a Shania Twain song here. It doesn't feels like a woman. It doesn't sound like any of these songs.
Did she do "Listen to Her"? Was that her?
No.
Because if so, that's more the vein. No, Man, I Feel Like a Woman is also a freak of a song. Like,
yeah.
That's not a common tune.
Right.
It's a weird outlier and a fantastic song.
Yeah.
No, this is if you haven't heard this song, you're crazy. Go listen to it.
It's a good song.
It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, with all my ranting, this is a freaking banger.
Yep. Well, let's end this thing, man.
Yeah.
Edge of Glory. 345 million listens. 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and you feel every bit of it.
Yeah.
And I think a proper cap on the album.
I agree. I like this song. You've indicated that you're not a fan of this song.
I don't like the song.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. It's a good song. Mm-hmm. I can't really poke holes in it. It's just like not the thing that gets me going.
Yeah.
I don't love the way it progresses. I don't think the chorus is particularly, oh my God. I understand why the world likes it. I'm not poo-pooing it.
Yeah.
But in the journey of what this album has been, I think I've made it pretty clear what my 2 or 3 top favorites are.
Yeah.
And they're almost always the darker, more edgy, slower tempo, heavily EDM influenced, and the more industrial, I think, is the word that you dropped that was so effective for me tonight.
Yeah.
To kind of categorize it. I like that music better.
Yeah.
But I think this is a nice celebratory note to go out on.
I agree. If I had to pick a song like this, I would actually choose, even though it's not the same message, but I would choose My Life Would Suck Without You by Kelly Clarkson over this one.
Oh my God.
Because that feels the same to me.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess so.
It's not the same song.
No, it's not.
But for some reason that struck me. I mean, when I was like listening to, I've heard the song a million times already, but when I was like listening to it, I'm like, I think I like that song better. It's not the same song. I don't know why I drew that
no,
correlation.
it's interesting because I feel like it's of the era.
Yep.
I believe the Kelly Clarkson probably came out just before it.
I think like maybe 2007.
Yeah, that's back when she was still cranking stuff. Yeah, I can't unhear the Pink thing still.
Yep.
It still exists here.
Does Pink make this list?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. She's awesome.
Pink's a very, very, very good performer. I think she's fantastic. I don't think she's had an album that has enough recognition.
Compared to Richard and Linda Thompson.
But remember, the argument here is that the people at Rolling Stone think they're so esoteric they can get away with that shit.
I know.
Pink's too obvious, right?
Yeah.
I'd much rather waste my brain space on wondering if Gaga. So here's the thing: you have 500 albums, right?
Yep.
Gaga should make the list in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you
She's
were
one of the best-selling artists of like all time.
precisely, so she has to have something on here.
Yep.
Is good enough to have 2 on here. She won't have 3.
How her new song or new album is like got 2 billion streams, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, it just came out like a couple weeks ago.
That's wild, right?
Yeah.
This is where we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
Overall, when you look at this album, this is one of the first ones in our 17 so far we've recorded where I walked in going, I don't know what I'm going to say at the end. Based upon our conversation, I have more of a feeling though. What are your thoughts?
Now I want to hear what you got to say. You teed it up. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll tee it up. I think this album is sitting at the right place, and I do believe it has its place on the list. I don't really like a couple of the songs, but the ones I do like and the effect that it has, and we've talked about the effect before. I think it's a very fair work to submit to cement Stephanie, Lady Gaga, into a rightful position here.
Yeah.
As influential, as incredibly talented, resourceful, and kind of a master of her craft. And so I'm gonna give this one the nod today.
So you would hit it.
I would.
You would buy this?
I'll buy it on vinyl.
Buy
Yeah.
it on vinyl? Okay.
I don't like the cover though.
No. There's an alternate cover which is a little bit better, but
The motorcycle, it's dumb as hell.
yeah, that is whatever. There's no undenying her talent. I'm actually a Lady Gaga as an individual, as an artist, supporter, fan. I celebrate. I think she's incredible, undeniable talent. I agree with you that I think this album is where it should be on this list. However, I struggled making it through the album in a single listen. I've listened to this album probably 12 times.
Yeah, I probably got 10 under my belt.
Right? Because I had a hard time keeping my attention. Although, clearly I like some of this music. But I think end to end, for me, it doesn't do it. So I would not hit this one.
And for the first time, we disagree.
We disagree.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to, killer musicianship and production. This is how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, there he is, folks. We've made history tonight. In more ways than one. This is the longest episode we ever recorded.
Sorry, guys.
But we had a lot to say. We are eternally grateful and thankful for everybody's participation so far. Excuse my hiccup. That was brutal. Yeah, I know, right? I felt that one in my chest. We've really enjoyed watching our statistics pop off on these shorts that we put out. How many views on that last one, Linda Ronstadt?
We're going to break 10K.
10,000. That's pretty nice.
We're almost Mr. Beast.
We're essentially Mr. Beast.
Yeah,
at some point,
basically.
guys. And we really enjoy doing this with you and for you. We hope you're enjoying it. Dan, do you know what we're listening to next week?
As a matter of fact, Carl, I do.
What is it?
It is Muddy Waters the anthology.
Nice.
How different could we be from what we just listened to?
And that's the beauty of this list is
Yeah.
you never quite know what we're going to pull next.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, let's muddy some waters. In the meantime, I'm Carl Carter Fansteel.
I'm Dan Woodard.
And this was your Backwards Beats podcast. We'll see you next week.
Love you.
That was a show about the album Born This Way by Lady Gaga. This was the first time that we disagreed in public.
Backwards Beats Podcast is a Tunawood production recorded live at Thought Shack Studios in Halethorpe, Maryland.
If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can find us at Backwards Beats Podcast on most platforms.
Share the love, and we'll see you next week for another deep dive into the next album on Rolling Stone Magazine's Top 500 list. Until then, salt your melons.